One of the most annoying things when traveling is chargers and cables. And since I live out of a carry-on sized backpack, I always try to keep all those things to a minimum. Now, I am very deep in the Apple ecosystem. I usually travel with my 2 iPads. I also own an iPhone mini 12 with a very weak battery, but it still works. And I also own the Airpods Pros, the first generation. And a little while ago, I decided to add a case to my AirPods. I was never a big fan of that because I just like how slim they were. But for some reason, the coating of my case is coming loose, so I decided to protect it a little bit more. And a few weeks ago, when I flew home from the US, I made the fantastic stunt of throwing my AirPods down the seat, and obviously the case opened and my AirPods went everywhere. I was just very lucky that I had a seat on the aisle, so I was able to kind of crawl around and find them again, but yeah. So now I got a case with a lock, and I think that's better to protect the poor headphones from myself. So I still have to get used to it being a little bit more bulky than before, but this case actually has another benefit which we will talk about in a second when we come to the chargers. So when I was traveling with my iPads and those 2 devices, I was usually very happy to just use one cable. I usually had a USB-C to USB-C cable, and I added a little adapter to Lightning here on the top. And since I go iPad only, I don't need bulky chargers for MacBooks and stuff. I have 2 options depending on the trip. So the smallest one I own is this one from Anka. I really enjoy it very much, even though I always think it's a little bit of a bummer that the European version is so bulky compared to the US version, because we always have to have those stupid, huge European plugs here. In the US, the thing is about half the size and you can fold in the prongs. But yeah, no one cares about making a decent charger for Europe, so that's the best I got. And when I travel with my larger iPad, I usually bring this charger, which is also from Anka. It's the 47 watt one. It has 2 USB-C outlets, and then I can plug in 2 things at the same time. And I usually travel with my QB, which automatically backs up my photos from my phone and my iPads when I charge. So this has been a winning combination for me for a very long time. But then a few months ago, I decided to add an Apple Watch to the mix. And that's kind of where my whole misery started. Because I don't know who had the idea to invent a small little device like this and then make this bulky thing the charger for it. So I really did not enjoy traveling with this cable, so I tried to look for a few smaller options for traveling. And actually, after a lot of searching and testing, I found 3 options that I enjoyed using. And since they all have kind of different use cases for me, I kept them all. So the first one is kind of the most minimalist, super tiny solution. The second one is, I would say, the most deluxe one. And the third one is a power bank option. And it was important to me that they are all USB-C, so I can really travel with one cable only, or 2 cables if I choose to bring the charger with the 2 slots. So how about we start with the smallest version that I found, and it's just this little disc. It has a little stand on the back if you would want one, and it has a little slot for a USB-C cable. Now this side is Magsafe, so I can attach my AirPods to charge, or I can also just attach my phone. If I want to, I could also just keep this attached to my phone and use the stand. But it actually has another use, because this here in the back is a charger for my Apple Watch. So with this little device, I can charge all my things. So even though it's not as fast as the original charger, I really enjoy having this in my tech pouch. So every time I sit down on the desk with my iPad, I put this out and charge my watch and those things, because there I don't really need it on my wrist. And I also really enjoy using this charger in the car, because when it's kind of on the phone and the watch is on here, it gives the whole thing a little bit more stability than with other chargers. And I also think it's great to just slide it in your pocket and have it when you need it. So for me, this is the perfect backup charger. So next, let's talk about the more deluxe version. And full disclosure here, the nice people from ESR sent me this. And ever since I got it a few months ago, it has always been on my nightstand. It's very easy to travel with this thing, because you can actually unplug the watch charger and then just fold it. And then it's very slim, and I always just slide it into the back of my nightstand pouch. And this little watch charger can also be used independently of the little station. So I can plug it in directly into a wall charger if I want, or it also works to plug it into my iPads. But let's set it up for a second. So here in the back I plug in a USB-C cable, and then I can attach my phone here in the front, either like this, or I can also do it like this, which is something I enjoy very much because I sometimes watch YouTube at night, and then I can just put my phone on here, it charges, and I can adjust the angle, and I found this very handy. Now here in this slot in the back I can charge my AirPods, and here I can just put my Apple Watch, and then all my things are charging. And now let's quickly disassemble this again and talk about the last option, which is my favorite one when I'm out on the go, and it's the power bank. And for that, I will also need this little charger from this station. As I mentioned, it also works independently, and it comes with this little lid, and you can also buy it separately from this charging station. So the power bank that I'm using is from Anker, and I have a newer version that has the USB-C on the side. The older one has it on the bottom, which is something I would not recommend. And it also has this stand, and then you will see why it's useful to have the USB-C on the side, because then I can just plug it in and use this as a pass-through charger if I would want to. And it's a Magsafe power bank again, so I can just magnetically attach it to my phone, and I can also magnetically attach it to my AirPods. And that's one thing I wanted to say about the case. The case actually also has magnets inside, so it stays a little bit more solid on the Magsafe accessories. And especially for this power bank solution, I find it very handy because I often just throw this in my purse. But with this, it kind of, when I'm careful enough, it stays on there, and it actually charges magnetically or wirelessly. And in combination with this little ESR charger for the Apple Watch, it's for me the perfect combination on the go, because I can just directly plug this little charger here and it will charge my Apple Watch as well as my other things. So yeah. So for me, this combination of different 3-in-1 chargers that I have now works very nicely, and I kind of think they are all small and lightweight and don't add too much bulk to my luggage, but they all come in very handy, and I really enjoyed using all of them so far. So if you have any chargers that you really enjoyed using, let me know. I always love testing them. And if you enjoyed that video, I recommend that you watch this one next, where I talk about my favorite travel gadgets of 2023. And the ESR station actually made it on that list, together with a few other nice pieces of travel gear that I really enjoyed using. So yeah, check it out. And other than that, thanks for watching. If you want to make me very happy, consider subscribing to my channel, and I see you in the next video. Bye!